Okay, this is a little bit gonna be a little bit odd, but yeah, I guess welcome to this this new thing I'm probably gonna try and do. It's kind of weird and shit. I know this is a very weird intro as well, but hi YouTube. um, because by now, if you see this video on YouTube or something, you probably see that I already have my so-called crash course video up on my YouTube already. So this set of videos that I'm planning to release on my YouTube channel as well is that I am planning to do like a commentary thingy, like on each and every element that I do. So I'm just gonna commentate and see, like, tell you guys on my thoughts on what I was probably thinking or some shit, and commentate on stuff that I'm actually doing on screen, and like why I do this and why I do that and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just jump right into it, eh? Yeah, see, now that's two of me there. Don't look at this chat. This is the past chat. The one on the left there is present chat, okay? We have a live stream Andy, reaction Andy with chat too. Commentary. It's not, I wouldn't say it's exactly a tutorial. I wouldn't exactly say it's a tutorial. It's more like giving more in-depth stuff on like why I do this and that rather. I think it's like a new thing that that we're doing right now. SMH, right? Past chat. Okay. So I am muting this screen, so you just can hear me talking and shit, while I'll have a decent BGM in the background or whatever shit. So okay, so yeah. If anyone's wondering, the grid and stuff is all in my description. So usually the usual fashion, this applies to probably every single video I'll say, because he always does that thing, the stupid paradise lost at turn 0, so I just quickly press refresh before I even see anything. So yes. Just so you can skip the stupid thing, right? Yeah, you skip the stupid thing, and yeah, and I'm a win player, yes. I am using the typical win setup, which is the Siete, Monkey, and Urius. So usually the easiest thing, I would definitely say the easiest element is win. So this is definitely one of the easiest thing you probably see. I know there are times where people just fuck up as win for some reason, I'm not sure how. But yeah. Usually, if you're also wondering why I put the Urius in the back line, well, not back line, the back as in position 4 is because we are going to kill him off after Gopher's arc. Usually, if you're using the CTA strat, you are waiting all the way until 10%. If you wait till 10%, your Urius the only one will die, and then you have like a spare character, which I slot in Grimnir for that one, because Grimnir is able to nuke relatively harder and stuff because of his S3, yada yada yada. Okay, so first and foremost, the first thing you want to do as a win is obviously use Urius to debuff. And before you actually do that, you should press Anira S3. You must press Anira S3 because she does provide debuff success rate. So you definitely want to do that. That's why I pressed that first, and then you press 4 times. Yeah, so you need to keep in mind that Urius needs to land 4 times on both targets, just so you can tell everyone that you have fully debuffed it, because max is only 4 stacks. So yeah, you want to put 4, and then Monkey S3, and then because also I know quite a few runs you probably don't see this, but for this specific one, if you're not using, like, say for example like Valentine Clarice or some shit for your dark, or like maybe other setups or whatever, you definitely want to have gravity on the main body. And because you don't exactly need to bring Dispel for this specific setup, because your Dispel you already have on Urius, you already have on Monkey. Monkey is true her Ogi, of course. Urius is true his S3. So what my MC was using is that I'm using Gravity, Clear, and Hardened Shield. Usually you always have Hardened Shield anyway. The other ones is basically up to you really. But for this win, usually this win setup, you definitely want Clear because you always use Anira's S1 in turn 1, just so you can clear and heal, and then you're full immediately, so you have no problems at all. That's why Monkey is so damn OP here, right? Just now, previously you saw I was like super red and shit, and then now I'm like super full again. So yeah. So for this setup, like I said earlier, I'm using Gravity, so I Gravity the main body. But for some reason, I didn't realize that the Dark Knight actually had Clarice as well. So I was like, going Pepega and shit. But yeah, you just keep that in mind. There are times where if you're not using any external character for that, and then you can just run Gravity on your MC. Honestly, I think it's still fine at that point. And because, like I said, you only have Dispel on Urius and Monkey, so usually you want to Dispel on the first turn, so you can just keep that Dispel rotation going. And also, like I said before in the Crash Course thing, you want to keep it as low as possible for your so-called Evangelist Blade. So yeah, you want to just keep Dispelling that. So yeah, that's why I use Urius to Dispel. And the other thing is that usually I try to just nuke in turn 1 anyway, but sometimes for some reason I just don't, like this one specifically. Usually you can just CT S2 and just nuke, right? That's really up to you, doesn't really matter. So the second turn, I know you have like full ones already, but usually you don't want to Ogi yet, because like I said before in the Crash Course thingy, you really do not want to delay the body or whatever really. You don't want to delay too early. You want to only do it after the Ogi. So it also depends in particular like how much damage you're actually doing. And because if you have too much damage, you'll be going into overdrive, which will be Iblis, right? So in this run in particular, I actually just Ogi'd on turn 3, and it will be still in Phosphorus because it's not overdrive, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I usually try to want to Lanx early. Usually people who I will only say that if you want to mash early, usually those only applies for people who has you need to pass through turns relatively early and such. So yeah, so then I cast my Lanx on second turn, and for this specific turn, as you can see, I use Monkey S2 on her, so she has full cut. Ogi, you have no damage at all. The only thing is that here you may get very unlucky here, okay? You may get very unlucky here because like I said earlier, there's a chance that you may be in overdrive already. If it's not overdrive, you will not get debuffed, right? All you're gonna be at is just being dispelled, because it's going to be Phosphorus, right? Because Phosphorus landed on Monkey, and then she just got dispelled, right? So that's all it does. Usually that's the safer one, but if you have a little bit too much damage, it will be overdrives. So if you are unlucky, you'll be debuffed to Oblivion at this point. And usually at this point, you'll be shouting, "Clear place! Clear place!" Yeah. So usually in that position, you kind of usually have to wait, because a lot of people may actually not do what you're doing, like your other raid party members or whatever. You might not experience that because they might not be taking a free turn like you are. So they might have not gone through Iblis or whatever shit yet. So at that point, you kind of want to wait for them to actually go through Iblis first, because at this point of time, I'm usually guessing that not every single one of you has clears. You probably maybe 3 clears or some shit. 3 guys have clears or whatever. So you kind of want to wait for them to go first. So usually at that point, you kind of want to stay behind for now. So usually that's why at this point, you kind of want to stay behind. But if not, if you're in my position like this, you are still safe to go through because you're not debuffed or anything. Because usually, if you're debuffed by Iblis or whatever and such, you're gonna get the DOT thing, you get the forfeit thing, you get the stupid fear shit. Yeah, so that actually can be a massive problem. So that's why, yeah. At this point, I'm also kind of waiting for another raid member, which is Mr. 45. He's going through his Monkey as well, so yeah, I ended up just nuking anyway, because in that previous turn, I ended up using CT S3 just because I wanted to just pour in some deeps, right? Because from what I noticed at the beginning, because we didn't manage to get Iblis or Overdrive that early, so I was thinking like, okay, maybe we needed a little bit extra push, so that's why I also did that. And not to mention, Siete's S3 does reset relatively long, right? So doing it relatively early is kind of okay, because probably by, you know, maybe like when the wing has triggered like labors or whatever shit, you kind of want to, you probably have enough turns to pass in order for him to reset that. So another reason why I do that, and because, you know, we have already triggered the 70, as you can see, we have already triggered 70, but apparently nobody went, okay, there we go. So the first trigger is hitting it to 70, right? So what it does is that, you see, it removes all the debuffs. And another thing, the reason why I did that is also somewhat safe to do that, because, you know, usually you want to debuff with Urius the moment hit 70, right? And then you only have like 30 meter here. But the main reason why it's okay for me to do that is because he has one diamond here. Remember what I said earlier, where once he Ogis once, it's kind of like safe to just delay as much as possible. So that's what I did. So at this point of time, it's actually okay for you to go through, because Faa has already one diamond, so you can actually use Urius S2 to actually delay him so he can get extra meter. See that, like, yeah, that's what I literally did. If you whiff, there's a chance of you whiffing it, but usually the first time tends to be okay, because you have Anshira or Monkey S3, so you should be okay. And there's a lot of times where I'm kind of like waiting behind here, because as a Magna player, you usually don't really want to take too many free turns like without Lances, so it's very, very I would say dangerous to go through without Lances. I pressed the clear there because the Earth guy or maybe the Dark guy needed like a clear or some shit. So yeah, usually you will have clear around at this point, and then you just do it based on whether your raid members need it or not. So yeah, same thing, you just Langs, attack and shit, then you literally just want to press Monkey's S3 and S4 off cooldown, really. There's really no thought process behind that. You just want to do that. And you saw that because he already OG'd once earlier. So his he had like the Evangelist Blade at level 1 again. So you have that very nice rotation where Urius S3 is back up again. So then you just S3 the main body, so you have like, you know, just be safe and you just have no damage thing. And for like CAT stuff, you can pretty much use whenever you want, really. But at this point, you still have the apple buff thing. You really do not want to use his S1 and nuke, right? Because you don't want to get yourself damaged. Even though, like, your win and such and Monkey S1 and stuff. But probably it's going to be a whole lot different if you're using like a Zeph. I'm looking at you, Mr. Sukizi. So another thing, probably you might not see it yet, but the one thing you probably want to keep in mind is that for Urius' case, right, you want to press his S1 from time to time. Like maybe like if it's gone through like, you see, like I just did that, right? See, I just pressed his S1 for no reason there. I did that because I wanted to have that debuff up and running forever, right? So because, you know, it usually lasts for, I don't know, like 180 seconds if I recall correctly. So you use that from time to time just so you can prolong the thing and it doesn't disappear. So if like maybe the rate is a little bit too slow, you kind of want to press it from time to time. So that's the one thing you really need to keep in mind if you're the win player, alright? So right now we are just relatively straightforward. We just kind of like wanting to just push it down to 50 because it doesn't look like we are lacking. It doesn't look like we are overpowering the wing with too much DPS, because there are times where if you have too much DPS, it's already probably at this point it's already close to 50% or some shit, and then we have to move over to the wing. So another thing is that I didn't really mention yet, but before this, as you can see, I've already gone through the wing Ogi earlier, and usually by then I would mention it to the person that's gonna gravity. Because usually, like I said, you want to get the wing up, the wing Ogi to appear immediately, like the first one. Same goes for the main body. That's what we usually do, because you want to get the stupid wing buff on the main body to disappear immediately. So that's why I did that. So once that's done, you hopefully everyone's ready, then you gravity, and then everything is just straightforward and such. So now we are just trying to see whoever is not ready yet. I'm also waiting for Lanxes and shit. Still waiting for Lanxes and shit. Yeah, just at this point, it's just more like, it's more of like we are just trying to coordinate with other raid members to see how well they're doing, like what they're up to, like how's it for them, do they have enough turns and such. So it's just really pretty much about that. That's why I'm not really doing anything. And the other thing is that at this point, another thing you want to keep in mind is that you don't exactly need to go through, because if you unless you're the one of those guys that needs to like do extra DPS or whatever, then you probably want the need to go through. But you have to keep in mind that like you said, I am at 2 diamonds already, which is full diamonds for the main body. So what's gonna happen is that he will cast Iblis, because I still have 1 empty diamond here. It's not Paradise Lost yet, so he will do Iblis to me. And as you can see, the reason why I'm not going through yet, because I am relatively not really a healthy spot for Iblis, because Iblis can hit really hard. Unless you're like, Zeph or some shit, then yeah, that's a whole different story. But this, because I'm only playing Magna for Faa, yeah. So I'm just chilling here. Hopefully they can get through to 50 without me going through, because if at this point, right, if I need to go through, or at least trigger like or rotate some Lanxes or some shit, because I already have a Lanx, right? At this point, if I need to go through to get like whatever turns and stuff, then yeah, I will have to I will definitely pot in this condition. I will pot, and then I'll just go through and say fuck it. And then the bad thing about that is that you have to hopefully have your other raid members have your clears or some shit up, because at that point you're really just banking on RNG. And hopefully you don't get debuffed to Oblivion, especially like Urius. There are several cases where Urius is just going to like get debuffed to Oblivion. You like all 3, so that means he needs 3 debuffs. I mean 3 clears. But in most cases, if your meter is relatively healthy, you kind of just need 2 clears, because you want to get rid of forfeit, else you can debuff, right? So yeah, that's why at this point I don't really want to also go through, since I'm at a very healthy spot. I have very nice meter here. I don't really need to go through or anything. So it's just more like at this point I'm just asking others to, if you need to go through turns, do that. Now is a good time for you to go through turns, because I'm pretty much ready, and if I take any more turns or whatever, then it might be bad for me. So at this part, I might say the same thing again for my other commentary videos. So for this one in particular, if you didn't notice earlier, that's you can actually hit it to 50, and then the labors will not appear yet. You will want to have, because at this we have a fire guy. So for this one, we wanted the fire guy to always go through, because lack of sustain and shit. So what he does is that he just take a free turn and he just goes through to trigger labor. So once that happens, okay, labor is up. You know what to do. At this point, you know what to do. Press that S1 on Urius. Make sure you have landed on 4, and you should be good. Yeah, see, you land 4 times and then you're good. So at this point, you usually just kind of just wait for the Earth guy to go through. Once the Earth guy has gone through, which is it will get rid of 8, and usually 7, if I recall correctly, is done by the fire guy, because the fire guy has Zeta. So you can actually do that. You can actually have Sarasa and stuff on Earth guy. It just really depends on what kind of setup you're in. So 7 is done. So I actually just hit the Tiamat in case I actually nuke it to like 95 or some shit. Because you see, like the Earth guy just nuked. As you can see, the Earth guy nuked. Someone went through as well, so it's already 94. So I know for a fact that there's a chance for me to just go into Phosphorus, because the trigger at the main body, the first one, is 95, which is Phosphorus, which can be negated by Tiamat because mirror image OP. Because Phosphorus is just single hit on the lowest, I mean the highest attack. This point is the highest attack, so it will land on MC. So yeah, Mirage, if you don't even need lengths at this point, but you cannot be too sure, right? So you just Ogi. I saw that it's already 94, safe for me to go through. Bam, I just nuked the main body. But at this point, you don't really have to nuke the main body. But most of the time, what tends to happen is that as a win player, you kind of want to help push the main body to go 90, because you know there are probably in a situation where the other raid members want to you know, skip the 95, right? Because they can't actually go through or whatever. So yeah, that's very bad. But as you can see, I am in a very, very bad spot right now because it is at Paradise Lost. So there's honestly nothing I can do as a Win Magna because you have no Catcilia or nothing and whatever shit like that. So yeah. So yeah, at this point, I really could not do anything. I just had to wait until someone could provide me with like what's that? A Typhoon or like a Michael or whatever shit. But honestly, at this point, it's not really gonna do much. It's best if you can just get a Michael and stuff, because at this point, if you didn't know, I had my Kirin off. It's still on cooldown, and I do not have any other delays anymore. But usually at this point, it's not really that big of a deal for the win guy to even stay behind anyway, because most cases you just have that win. The win guy is usually, remember, is only there for like debuffs most of the time, and then he just nukes sometimes. It's not really, you don't really have much roles to do besides that. Your main important role is to debuff. So then someone managed to get the Typhoon up. I grab the Typhoon, I can nuke and then go through so I can help rotate the Lanxes again. Simple as that. So at this point, it's actually somewhat safe to Ogi the main body, but you have to let everyone know. The main reason why I didn't nuke the main body is just simply because I wanted to dispel again. As you can see earlier, the Evangelist Bin is at 1. I just wanted to nuke so I can get the thing out of the way, because I am going to nuke anyway with Monkey. So yeah. So now is at this point of time is relatively straightforward, and you kind of want to try and set up to get Paradise Lost and Paradise Lost done and shit, but because the Paradise Lost is already done, someone has already managed to clear it, so it's relatively straightforward. Very, very straightforward here. So all we need to do right now is just to mash, rotate Lanxes, kill off the wing ASAP. That's pretty much it. You don't really have to bother with the main body unless you need to nuke, like say for example like my case here. You know, if I need to dispel or whatever shit, then yeah, I have to nuke the main body. But if not, you can typically just ignore all of that and just keep nuking the wing until it dies and shit. So same thing here. Just wait for Lanx. Very straightforward here. You just wait for Lanx and go. And someone did die here because someone was a Pepega and just died to Phosphorus earlier, like I said. So yeah. Nobody was clearing that, so I decided to grab it because, as you can tell, my HP is relatively low, getting a little bit of heals. I don't really need that, but like, nobody's grabbing it, so I just went to grab it, right? So, same thing, very straightforward, going through turns, just shuffling Lanxes. So like, I saw my Lanx is up, and then I didn't really want to have the main reason why I did the delay is because if you didn't know, it was gravitied, so I'll be at Paradise Lost again later if we didn't manage to get the wing dead, right? So we need to play around with the whole delay thing just so you don't get into Paradise Lost. So that's why I did that, and then I Lanx attack. I'm probably just gonna Ogi again, right? I'm not even sure if you even managed to clear all the labels in this run. So yeah, this part here, waiting for Lanx. Same shit, just wait for Lanx, go through, very straightforward. Yeah, so there we go, Mr. Claim 45 with a Lanx. So yeah, go through. I'm waiting for them to nuke or whatever shit. Then... yeah. I'm not sure what the heck was I waiting for here actually. Oh, I'm just waiting for the wing to die actually, yeah. I'm just waiting for the wing to die. Doesn't really matter too much here, because like honestly at this point it really doesn't matter, yeah. So I decided to save my nuke here is probably very likely because of I'm trying to save a nuke to hit it to 85 later. And as you can see, my Urius is relatively low. And there's a chance that Urius might die, so if you don't want to take a risk, you can heal him up here, but I don't think I did. Yeah, so at that point, the wing dies, you kind of want to like better be safe and so. Oh, I did heal him. You kind of want to be safe to not press any buttons, because you get glitched very, very often on that one. And I just got fucking royally fucked there with damage there, if you noticed. And I didn't nuke it yet because I kind of want to get my my monkey S3 up, because monkey S3 wasn't up yet. And then I decided to, you know what, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? I'm just checking. Are you guys ready? Then I decided to, you know, alright, fine, I'm just gonna Baha and nuke or some shit. Yeah, anytime now. Anytime now. Anytime now. Because at this point, usually you kind of want to get, as a win player, right? You just want to get ready the Monkey S2. You really want to get Monkey S2 up and running. And there we go. So you Monkey S2, you nuke with Baha, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So you just nuke. And you don't need Langs for this, because you have full dodge on Monkey. And this is just the 3 hit on single target. So that's why it's still okay. Then yeah, everything like this part is relatively straightforward. You at this point of time, the Ogi is just going to be orbital blackness, but like you see, because it's like it's already Ogi. You know what? I was also thinking like, wait, you know what? I'm probably not gonna use my Typhoon later, and I saw that one stack on it, so I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking Ogi that shit. I'm just gonna Ogi that shit and bam, just dispel that shit and call it a day, and just so we can continuously push a lot faster to get into 60. Because right now it's just more about getting everyone ready for 60. So another straightforward point. At this point, you can, if you're afraid, you can literally just press monkey S1 and clear. Doesn't matter. But because it's break, I don't really care. I just attack. And you see, at this point, Ciete's S3 is already back up. So typically, you can also just continuously just nuke with him with that. So if you still have that so-called whatever Evangelist Blade up and running or whatever, so it's somewhat okay at this point. Yeah, see, that's what I did. I just helped because 4%, I know for a fact that my damage would not deal 4%. I just told them I'm just gonna take one turn first. You guys probably hang back a little bit just so I can help nuke or some shit. Is that what I'm doing? Unless for some reasons, yeah, there we go. Because like I remember it was somewhat along those lines. So for this part, it's already 61, right? You have to get ready for the whole 60% axiom thingy, which is AoE. That's why you see I have Athena. My Athena is ready. I'm pretty certain this one I was just waiting for someone to check the summon pool or whatever, and then I just go like, oh hey, I have Athena up. Whoever has Athena, whoever needs Athena, I can provide you. But for those ones that doesn't need Athena, can you like check the pool or whatever? Because you know there are chances that there are other summon pools. I mean other summon in the pool, and I do not want to burn Athena like that, because you know Athena is pretty good for this part for people who requires Athena to go through, right? Because there are, you know, if you're using like, say if you're using like conjunction or something shit, there we go. Then I was told that nobody's able to clear that, so I just said fuck it. Then yes, you see that another raid member decided to put in Athena. So yeah, I just went through. So at this point, it's really very, very straightforward here. This point as a win player, right, is all about you, how you want to play. This is really how you want to play, because I have not used Kirin yet. You probably may be in the situation where you have to use Kirin early, so that changes drastically. Because at that point, you kind of want to try to get your meter up and your buffs or whatever shit before 25. But because I have Kirin up and running, I do not need that at all. So I just, at this point, it's just going like, just YOLO that shit. Just press all the buttons as much as I can. See, I just pressed Siete S1 earlier, and then I just press his S2, and then whatever shit. Yeah, just keep the buffs up and running. Just wait for Langs, go through. Very straightforward here. So I'm just gonna fast forward here because this is very straightforward. Just fast forward, wait for Langs, blah blah blah. Just go through, blah blah blah. Yep, anytime now. I'm probably gonna cut this part out though. It's actually very straightforward as a win play. Because this part here, you don't really have much any triggers or whatever until 25 anyway. So yeah, very straightforward. Just wait for Langs, go through normally, blah blah blah. See, press that S3 off cooldown, whatever shit. Just nuke, who cares? you can always get back meter with Siete anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I just press again from time to time because why not? Then I also have my Langs up. Then because as you can see, it's already going towards 25 here. Okay, let me slow it down now. So at this point, what I'm trying to do is that I just Bahat for myself because I'm saying that I'm probably just going to take one more turn or whatever. So yeah, it's already 29%. So I'm just trying to set up myself for 25. So I'm just trying to get some extra meter for Urius. And I Bahat myself so I can use that Baha for Siete S4. Because for this strat, you have to wait until 10%, right? So I'm literally just doing that. So I'm just get the Baha up so I can S4 do crazy amount of damage, you know. Because Siete S4 has probably like what, 4%. I think you do like 4% nuke, I think. Depending on how good your damage cap or whatever is, I suppose. But yeah, most of the time you tend to be like either 3 to 4%. It's very, very huge. So at this point, we're just waiting to see whoever is going to go through to 25 first, or trigger 25 or whatever. And then once it does, then you do the same thing. Debuff again. Yeah, I did a dispel there because you have to also remember at this point that it will trigger the Akasha thingy. The Akasha, I forgot what field effect is that. It basically increases the turn or fast forward the turns by either 2 to 3 turns. Which is a 50-50 chance to either go either one. So yeah, 25% Urius nuke, Urius debuff, and just wait. That's all you do. Press debuffs, full debuffed, and just wait. This is the strat. You just wait. You just wait and hope your teammates can push to 10%. If you can't push to 10%, then rip. Yeah, it's very straightforward, right? Win is very simple and straightforward. So yeah, I'm just gonna fast forward here because it's just really waiting all about getting it to 10% anyway. Well, one thing I can say for sure, if you don't want to deal with this, you can bring if you're using Grimnir and no Siete yet, yeah, then I guess you can go through, but you know. So there's a part where I decided to just use Kirin first because I'm just gonna be preparing myself for the 10%. So I just debuff again, just burn some meter because I'm gonna get full meter anyway, it doesn't matter. All this is just really I just press everything for fun. So this part, the other thing, I did Kirin there. My monkey buff is still up. I don't want to press monkey buff again just for no reason, right? Because Urius is going to die. So what's going to happen is that a new character will be coming in because Urius is going to die. And at this point, because I brought in Grimnir I put Grimnir in my backline, so Grimnir will be taking place. So that's why at that point only I will press Monkey's S3 just so he can get a buff as well. So yeah, we think now it's 11%. I help nuke or some shit just so you can push it closer to 10%. A lot of people have died already if you notice, because it's like at 3. Counters at 3. So okay, let's slow down this again. So it's like, oh right, I have no meter. So S4, debuff, 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 debuff. There's also one more meter if I need to get extra meter anyway. So I'm done with debuff. So I just take extra meter. So you don't really need, because my main hand I am using wind hose for my MC. So typically you only need 60% meter on Urius if you want to nuke with him. So there, I went through there. Urius died. My Grimnir is back. So I S3, see? That's what I did. S3, I just press all the buttons for Grimnir because it's already 2%. You're just gonna... At this point, you just really just nuke it down. So it's pretty whatever. If you don't have enough damage, yeah. I could have nuked again anyway, so... It's... Yeah, so it's... See, it's pretty simple, right? As a win player, you just sit back and chill. Just sit back and chill. That's how win is. So yeah, I guess that's my commentary for my win playthrough. Because that's really most of the time how we tend to do anyway if you're using the CATA strat. If you're playing differently using Grimnir, you can still go through that one. At that point, you can just use, like, you know, play around with his S1 so you take lesser damage, or you just play around with the likes of Monkey S2. So usually if at that point you can kind of use Monkey S2 and hopefully it can come back up before the next trigger again, if you did not take the 15% trigger. If you only gone through 20% trigger, which is the Axiom Apocalypse thing, and you haven't taken the 15 yet, you have to go set up again for that one. If not, you might just freaking die. So yeah. So yeah, I guess that's really about it for my commentary on my win plays or whatever shit in Faa. Hopefully you learned a little bit or two on why I do this, why I do that, and stuff like that. This is just more like an in-depth look on how I do things usually, I suppose. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and comment Urius. Oh no, comment Kenkyu no Sekara or some shit in the comment section. And I'll see you guys next time. Ricardo Flick time.